Emotionally unavailable.
Welcome to Emotionally Unavailable, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of emotional availability and intimacy. I'm your host, Melissa Hepner, and I can't tell you how excited I am to have you join me on this journey of self-discovery and connection. Whether you're navigating the complexities of relationships or exploring your own emotional landscape, this podcast is here to inspire, empower, and entertain. So get cozy and let's explore the depths of human emotions together. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. Today's guest is Taylor Briggs. Online, it is I Am Soul, S-O-L. Very, very cool person. You're going to love this interview. Super down to earth and relatable, but also cool as fuck, okay? So she actually does really cool shit. She does naked yoga. I've enjoyed watching like her commentary on Threads. I'm super into this chick. But is chick rude? I don't know. Okay. Anyway, let's see. I'm on her little link tree right now. And she does locks. I wanted to call her a braider, but I don't know if that's as part of like some of the stuff she does, but I don't know if that's what she would refer to herself as. But she does, so what she says on her site is, I guide souls ready to break the cycle of burnout and societal pressure, reclaim their sovereignty through yoga and radical self-love, and embody their truest self. So most of our conversation today was about self-love, but you're going to love it. It was a very long conversation that I'm not editing a single ounce of. So yeah, hope you love it like I did. I will include her links in your show notes, and that'll be that. So love you guys. Thanks for listening. And here's me and Taylor.
Emotionally unavailable.
Hi.
Oh, wait. Okay. Hi.
Okay, I hear you now. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Sorry. Once I pushed, let you in, it was kind of a... My brain is not here.
No, it's cool. No, I was on Instagram, I couldn't find your message from before. So I was like, all right, I'm on the right thing with the right time. And then that's how I was like scrolling through, so it probably didn't show up.
Let me be really honest with you. I didn't even get ready because I've spent the last 2 hours trying to figure out who I was recording with, because I did not see that I had actually invited you. I thought that I just put in a placeholder and then never sent the invite. So I couldn't figure it out. And then finally I looked one last time about 7 minutes ago and was like, there is an email. So they do know we're recording. And then I had to go figure out who you were.
I've been trying to this insane, and I couldn't find our Instagram messages, and I was like, okay, I know it's emotionally, because I looked at the thing, I was like, emotionally unavailable podcast. I'm like, I don't even remember what I said I was going to come and talk about.
Yeah. Did you ever find the messages? Because I just did. Okay, because I seriously, about 7 minutes ago, I was like, yay, okay, great, this is so good. I know who I'm recording with, but I don't know who they are. So I looked through all my email and I'm like, oh, okay, it must have been Instagram. So I went there and I looked again and I was like, perfect, because I had gone through messages for a while because I knew if I couldn't find you in one place, you couldn't have come from one place. So I was like, okay, it had to have been Instagram, but I couldn't find you. So then whenever I did, I was like, perfect. And then I looked at your website and I was like, oh my God, I remember this now. So I don't know. I don't think we did say what we would talk about, but first of all, I am digging your vibe, so hardcore. I'm so excited to know that people like you are in the world doing this work. So what I thought we could talk about is this radical self-love thing, because if I'm being 100% real, every time I have a conversation with a client about this, I get a little lost in the sauce and forget the how, because for me, it truly has just been one decision that I just confirm over and over and over. But they don't believe that. That seems too easy. I'm like, no, for real, that's it. You say, I'm not going to talk shit about myself anymore. And then you stop talking shit about yourself. Every time I talk shit about myself, whether it's internally or externally, I stop right then. I go, oh, I shouldn't have said that, actually. I'm actually
Yeah.
great. Thank you. You know, so what I mean, welcome, first of all. I'm so glad to
Thank
know
you.
that you weren't any, more together than I was this morning. Although you look great. So good for
Yeah.
you.
I was like,
Because
let
I
me
was
go
like,
get like a
oh.
little something. And I was just like, oh, maybe you should put like a little mascara or something.
Oh, well, baby, you look beautiful. Let me
Thank
tell you
you.
what, I had to go just like get the mascara off underneath my eyes. So I was like, okay, that's what we're doing today. We're gonna do that. What do you think about, well, just how the hell ever you want to talk about self-love? I just want to get into that, man.
So self-love. It's such a thing where I can't, like you said, there's just like one thing that you just started doing. And like for me, it's been 1,000 things, right? Like I'm just like, what can I do to love myself more? And I think I didn't realize how much self-love was important until I realized how much I didn't love myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like how much other people weren't displaying what love was for me, right? Like, and there's so many ways, like how many times I didn't love myself. I knew that I didn't love myself, and it's because of the way that I let people treat me.
That was your sign?
And I think that was one of the bigger signs. It's just like letting people treat me and how I was treating myself. And I think finally my body was like, this doesn't feel good. Like this doesn't feel
Mm,
good. Let's go try something different. And then you start feeling a little bit better, but then you start getting caught back up in that cycle of
them
like, oh, you're
patterns.
letting the people back the pattern, right? And you're like, no, this
Mm-hmm.
still doesn't feel good because it's still mirroring that you're doing somewhat better. And then, okay, um, let's try something else. And it's just been a series of me, and I'm at this point now where it's been like 9 years. It's literally been 9 years, and I'm still struggling with some things, right? Like you
Sure.
let people come back in and you're like, oh, you don't realize it, and you're like, okay, you're trying to give people the benefit of the doubt, and then you're like, oh, here it goes. But now I'm handling it differently, right?
Right.
And I think self-love comes with accepting your humanness. Um I used to do drugs, right? Because I didn't want to feel my feelings. Because I was
Mm-hmm.
also shamed for feeling my feelings. And like, you
Oh
need to
yeah.
suppress this because the people that were hurting me that didn't love me were saying what you're feeling is wrong. That's
You're
not
too
right.
sensitive.
Yeah, you're sensitive and what you're feeling is wrong. And don't yell at me and don't say that to me and don't do this. So then I found ways to numb myself and bring myself down and make myself like, because it's
So that
hard
you
to
could
stay
tolerate the
small.
environments that you were
Yeah.
in. Yes,
Right.
absolutely. Yep.
And and just other like and it's funny, as I was getting ready, I was thinking about like the fact like I used to do my makeup every day and used to have my hair like this every day. I just did this because I wanted to see like how usually I
Thank
wear my
you.
hair like usually I wear my hair natural and like but I was like, oh, I want to see what my hair like how long my hair is. And I
I
remember
love the
like doing
cut. Oh my
thanks.
God, it's
Yeah,
so
I
rad.
love my mohawk. And but I remember during those times where, like, yes, I was wearing the makeup and I was doing I was like, I was obsessively doing, like, catering to my outer.
I did that too.
I
Yeah.
obsessively like wearing the makeup, making sure my hair was done like every
Every day.
day,
Yeah,
every
it
single
didn't
day,
matter what I was
not
doing either.
looking. It didn't, yeah, like and looking like you never go out the house. Like I would never go out the house without looking like I was okay.
Yep.
If you look at any of the pictures and if you look at any of my pictures from those times where I was high and I was drinking excessively and I really did not like myself, you would not know.
Yeah.
You would not know. And so I took some time off from that. And I think it's funny now to see how people treat me without doing all of that because now
Mm-hmm.
in some way, shape, or form, I don't value myself as much. But what they don't realize is that I value myself so much that I don't waste my time doing that to try and make myself look.
Yeah, you understand that your worth and value are not
Yeah,
tied
tied into
to
that
your appearance at all.
appearance. Yeah, and that's when I really was like, oh, I love myself. Right? When I stopped doing those things, when I stopped letting people do that, and I realized it more and more as now I can't be in I used to be able to be in a toxic relation 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Now it's
Mm-hmm.
like I get a month in and I'm like, you gotta go.
Yeah, this is not working. Thank you so much for your time. We should have
Yeah.
vetted you a little better.
And but so self-love it's been so many things. The
Yeah.
way and I just even when I have those moments where I get down to, oh, well, you're not as successful as them. And I'm like, yes, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, like yes, I am. Yes, like you've done X, Y, and Z to get to this place. And like you said, I immediately stop myself.
Yep.
I can't let that get in there.
Yeah, because we understand that you are programming your subconscious in real time, and it doesn't matter how fleeting that thought is. If you don't revise it, it gets stored in there. I mean, your brain is a
Yeah.
little computer, and it's just like a cookie at a website. If you don't clear that cache, it's staying. So you
Yeah.
have to. And I wonder too how much this resonates with you. I loved how you said part of self-love for you was embracing your humanness, meaning like we understand that we are not going to be perfect. There's never going to reach a place where we are now no longer
Yeah.
imperfect. But for me too, I think so much of it involves forgiveness for not being perfect. Like
Yeah.
I have to forgive myself all the time for like sometimes a conflict will feel icky afterwards, and I'm reviewing it and I'm like, why am I upset because I don't feel shame over the way I handled that. Like I don't feel like I went too far. I don't feel like I didn't lead with love, whatever. And then I'll be like, "Oh, it's because life was messy for a second, and I don't like that. I don't
Yeah.
like that I didn't do it perfectly." And really what I mean by perfectly is the very passive aggressive or people pleasery manipulative type way that I used to would have dealt with conflict, which is freeze or fawn to your face and then stew for however long I stew on it and then like craft something perfectly said by writing. I mean, I would just retype it and retype it and retype it until it was
Wait,
perfect.
I still sometimes do that.
Do you?
Yes.
Yeah, it's hard to
But
break that habit.
but I think in the moment I still said what I needed to say, but I still felt like there was more that I didn't
Yeah,
say.
that makes sense. Yeah.
And I was like, because I was still ruminating, like, oh, you still should have said this. Like there was stuff
Mhm.
that was just like you didn't like sometimes it's still like you didn't handle that properly. Let's get this out. Like and
Yeah. Mhm.
let's stop ruminating on this.
Yes, but that is an
But
absolute act of self-love. All of
yeah,
that. All of that because I think and I just know without even saying this that you've had the same journey, but for me it was such like this beautiful place to wake up to one day where like I understood this is the only true love there is. This is it.
yeah,
That's the only true love that exists is what you give to yourself. That's why for me it's been so important to learn myself because the more I learn about myself and I love it and embrace it and have compassion for all of that, I now get to extend all of that love and compassion to other people too because
yeah,
if you don't understand it, it's real hard to be like, I get it. Like it is
yeah,
hard to forgive or have empathy or compassion for things that you really don't understand. Because I'm very fiery. I can be all up in that
yeah,
fire about something and feel very self righteous about it. Like, oh no, they are not showing up for me the way I need them to, or they are toxic or whatever. And then I'll be like, let's turn that mirror around. Oop, I'm the problem again. Weird how that always happens. Weird. And
yeah,
but so much of this for me really is just like I forgive myself for the fact that I'm never going to be perfect, but once that forgiveness happens, the love, man, you just envelop all of this like
mhm,
squishy, yummy feeling for
yeah.
yourself?
And yeah, and I mean, like recently I went through some like stuff and it triggered and you go through the stuff and you fall, like you slip back.
Ooh,
And
yeah.
last week I woke up and I was like, bro, you get to wake up and be you every day.
Mhm.
I woke up and I was just like, do you not realize that you get to wake up and experience life as you? and other people get to experience you and how amazing that is.
Mm-hmm.
And the damn with those other people, like, yes, the mirroring but like sometimes it's like the damn with those people that just don't align with you.
Absolutely. Well, and baby, that's the thing for me is I did that. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it was like, but if I'm being real honest, it was done for me. Like, the universe
Yeah.
came in, they're gone. And I was like, well, that fucking hurt, bro. Like, what the fuck? But
Yeah.
I mean, not very long after was I like, that for sure needed to happen. Like, I was never
Yeah.
going to go where I'm at now with that,
these,
you know?
yeah. Yeah. And it's like, I'm always just like, you know what? Like, you get to wake up and like I said, I get to wake up and be me.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Even
when
if
you
it's
love
just
yourself,
sleepy.
you know what that means. You know how
Yeah.
fucking magical you are.
And then also like the biggest thing for me too in my self-love journey has been again, like definitely like a lot of solo time. A lot of solo time.
Yeah,
Like
me
last
too.
year I traveled more than I had in like my probably like just in my adult life yet. And this summer I'm actually taking like a summer road trip. Like I'm taking
How
like time off and
fun.
I'm just like I just need time with me. Um and that comes with the like the codependency and the like people
Yeah.
pleasing and all that. And it's just like I just need me time.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, obviously have access to that. I'm single. I don't have kids. I mean, but like it's just like I need it outside of my like typical this environment that I've been in
Right.
for
Yeah.
and learning all these lessons um and what thing that I learned a long time ago when I first moved to Virginia to stop doing drugs and everything. I was like, you have to take yourself out that environment.
Mm-hmm.
And I took myself out of the environment and I mean, still had to unlearn a whole lot of stuff, right? Because we're unpacking it and we're like looking at it and
Yeah.
we're like, so like now it's like, okay, this environment has become that place of unpacking and healing and all this other stuff. We've learned the lessons. So I'm like, okay, we we gotta take the show on the road so that now we know who, like, now I fully can see you. I just want to look at you. And it
Yeah.
really, and really just like and it's really just I'm looking so forward to it because it's just like I get to love myself more and get to just experience myself more and experience myself experiencing new things and new sights.
Mm-hmm.
But also what I also did was I found a community and I found a community that mirrored my light. And it's so easy. I think it's very easy to find people that mirror our shadows. I
Oh,
mean, I
Lord
I
Jesus, you
could
are
go
so right.
outside and pick one up right now. I
I
promise you.
literally could. Yep.
I can
Mm-hmm.
go pick one up at the but I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it's so hard to find a community or find individuals that mirror your light.
Yes.
And when when I started like regularly practicing yoga, I was like, okay, I want a studio. I want to like, I was doing well by myself. I was like, you have this practice, but I was like, I would like to do it like, less outside of my house.
Yeah.
And I walked into the studio and I went in there. I took it was hot yoga. It was literally 5 minutes away from my house. I was like, let's just go here. Um, which I guess it was easier than than one would suspect. But I walked in and took a class, and I remember walking out, and the girl at the front desk, she was like, "Bye, Taylor." And I was,
Oh, no. When someone says my name, it makes a big difference to me.
and I was like, and I walked out, and I was like, "Oh, I'm coming back here." And I had already been feeling good, right? Like this is my first experience with hot yoga. I'm sweaty. I'm like feeling good. I just went like challenged
Yeah,
myself in
you're
a
all
way like I never.
euphoric.
And then and then I walk out. She literally says, "Bye, Taylor."
You're like, bye, bestie.
And I
See you
was like, "Oh,
tomorrow.
we're coming back here." And then I
Uh-huh.
experienced more of that. And then when I say a month later, I was working there. And
That's amazing.
then a year later, I was teaching there. And in my whole entire life, I am not a person that likes to work. Okay. I started
So,
my own business 5 years ago. I had never I started my own business because it was just like I was misaligned. I was still choosing this misalignment. And I was like, okay, we're gonna go work for ourselves. But I went to this place and I said, I want to work here. I went in there, I demanded the job. And I've never experienced my light through other people so much.
Oh, I
And
love that.
and it's only made this self-love journey even worse because
Yeah.
now I definitely know. Now there's this knowing, right? Like it's when you're in the self-love journey, you feel so alone in
Mm-hmm.
loving yourself and setting those boundaries. And this is not what I tolerate. And maybe, you get set up in life. I grew up in like my family, the way that it was so chaotic and so they're not happy, like truly happy, right? This
Right.
and they don't really care for each other because they have the shared trauma and all,
Mm-hmm.
like, and they're still fighting whatever issues that they're fighting when they're younger. And then it carried on to me because I'm the oldest, so I'm like in
Oh,
between, and
yeah.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
definitely the little sister, right? I'm the like I'm not. My mom had me
Yeah.
when she was 17. I'm
Oh,
the
yeah.
my aunt, and I have aunts that are younger than her, right? I'm a little sister who's not really a little sister. And I
Mm-hmm.
got caught up in all of this, and I grew up seeing all of this, so I could see it all, and I could feel it all. And so I thought this was what normal was. I thought this resentment in the household, this the fighting, the arguing, the bickering, all of this, the drinking yourself to numb yourself, the all of this was normal.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go out into life and then you have these experiences in your relationships that mirror that. And you start thinking, this is normal. This is
This
what
is
love
what I
is.
should expect.
This
Yeah.
is what I should expect with love. And then I'm still dealing with it, right? I come down here, I start spending time with my dad's side of the family. It's a lot more of the same, just in, a different because of course they met
Boy, do
when they
I
were high
know.
school. They were high school sweethearts, right? So they were mirroring each other, right?
Absolutely. They were the same
So
person.
they were
Yeah.
just, escaping each other like through the same stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and realizing how much his mother is like my mother, and I was just like, oh God, like
You were
this
like,
is,
God, I see that
I
connection.
see
That's why
it,
you
I
chose
see it.
her. That's why you chose her.
So I finally see it all, and I was like, okay, we have to break away. And then I
Mm-hmm.
go separate, and then finally get single, and I come to this place, and I'm finally like, oh my God, this isn't what it was supposed to be like. And I've always known that as a kid. I was like, this isn't it.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'd go to see my friends and I'd be like, okay, but maybe that's not what it is for me. And then I finally found this place where
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh, I get to be loved how I've always wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And I also get that light that I have, that light that I've always given out, because I that didn't none of that felt good.
Mm-hmm.
It's only made me love myself more. These
Yeah.
people that I found make me love myself more. And it's a balance of the two, because now as more as I love myself and becoming and doing the things that I'm doing, right? Because I've still been doing the work.
Yeah.
I've still been being mindful. I've been doing the whatever work, the inner work, the sitting in the stillness, the sitting in the discomfort, doing the plant, all those things, um, shedding my beliefs. But then I have these people that I can go to
Mm-hmm.
that like affirm it. Like I'm not asking for too much,
Right.
right? Like
Well, and this
when
has
it's
been the biggest struggle for me when you were talking about kind of the loneliness of this journey, because it can get kind of lonely when you're isolating from toxicity. I know for me, it opens up this wound sometimes, not all that often, but sometimes that wound where we just feel misunderstood and we have to fight to feel understood. Like with people from previous versions of me, like the friendships that I had, I was a totally different person. But I I don't necessarily need them to understand me, but that's that inner child stuff. Like it will be like, "Ugh, you just don't get it." But it really is just this safety thing where I feel very
Yeah.
trembly inside to even like have real, deep, authentic conversations with them. And I kind of refuse to have any other type of conversation. So I don't have a lot to say because it's still very scary. But also I've been on this journey the last few weeks of like learning to create safety in really stressful conversations,
Yeah.
because for a while I had to just schedule. Like I'd be like, even with my older kids, I'd be like, you can't just throw out some shit like, you know, you did this and this wrong. Like I'm not your punching bag. Like I'm here to be open to hearing the things I've done to hurt you, but it's got to be like an actual conversation and not some passive aggressive comment, you know? But
Yeah.
so it was just very like, we can't have conversations unless I'm prepared for it. Whereas now I'm not necessarily prepared for the middle part of a conversation when it inevitably goes awry. So I'm learning how to like stay calm and stay safe. But the first time I heard myself say, this is exactly why I don't tell people stuff, I was like, oh, sissy, you're the problem. You're the problem. You're the problem. You're the problem again. Because that was my clue to me that I'm like, oh, that's just your negativity bias. Like you're absolutely trying to confirm to yourself that you have nobody to talk to about
Yeah.
what's happening in your life because you don't like the way they respond. Because I'm expecting perfection from people when I come to them and say such and such is happening in my life. Well, they better damn well, you know, be all tender and soft and hold me like a baby
Yeah.
and tell me it's gonna be fine, or else I'm pissed. And just I had enough of it over a couple weeks time span that I was like, oh my God, I'm learning so much about myself right now. Like
Yeah.
I would love to know who I went to. I mean, actually, probably the very first time I admitted like a sexual abuse to my mom. She was really messed up. Like, I don't know if she was just drunk or on drugs as well, but it was like a kid, like a teenager, I think, that she like paid to babysit us when she like abandoned us in a house for a little bit. But he did that, and I told her, and she saw him walking down the street. I was like, oh my gosh, Mom, that's that guy. And she just like, hey, you know, I'm gonna use today's language and act like, you know, because these are terms we know.
Yeah.
She'd be like, hey, Chomo, you know, oh, you think it's real cute touching little girls, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, the fuck? I remember just inside being like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, that is not the
Yeah.
way this should have been dealt with in any way. And I think that was the last time I ever felt safe sharing another damn thing. So that's probably where it started. But I'm very scared to tell people, like, I have a problem in my life. And some of that is I don't like asking for help or needing help or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Same.
girl, I know.
Same.
We're like sisters over here. But
Yeah.
I
Because
mean,
I
it's
really, and
so
it's the
hard.
same way. I'm just like, oh, I don't want to, like, you know, the second you share, and then they want to, I mean, and it's been little things. Like, it makes me, I get to a point sometimes where I have people that, and I was thinking about this earlier too, where I have people that I'm scared to share my positive stuff with.
Oh,
Like, I have family members that I don't tell, like, you know, they're like, it's, and I mean,
you can't
they're
tell
not really
them
on social
nothing.
media or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that. So, like, you know, when I see them, they're like, hey, how's things going? I just say, like, things are good.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, and I've gotten to this place still where I'm like, now it's like, I don't feel safe telling, and now we're in this, and now I'm in this new place of this journey where it's like, now I don't feel safe telling the good stuff.
Yeah.
Right? I used to not feel
Yeah.
good. I used to not feel safe telling, um, I used to feel not safe telling the bad.
Right.
Um, and now I just don't feel safe telling the good, because now that comes with its own different set of
Yeah, because
issues.
you either get, and I'm so glad we're talking about this, and I'm seeing more people talk about this, but I don't like the way it's framed on social media. Like you just got these haters. Like, yeah, you do, but it's not like that. It's what it is they don't know how to deal with the feelings that come up in them when you tell them
Yeah.
something. So they got to dismiss the shit out of you. But when you are feeling unsafe to tell somebody a good thing, it's because they will either criticize you, like, oh, really? Well, how do you know? Da, 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 da. Oh, really? That's, you know, or just all the unsolicited advice, like like where they like go 40 steps ahead and they're telling you how you need to be doing it better or
Yeah.
whatever. And either one of those aren't really what we're here for. I'm not
No.
really trying to hear your business plan for me. If I'm being
Yeah. Like I'm celebrating right now. What I really want is for you to
Yes.
celebrate with me, right? Or just know, like, I mean, I can't tell somebody, I mean, just even my lifestyle sometimes. Like, and some people now I'm learning, like, which I didn't realize, and one of my married friends said it, and I mean, she said it in a very nice way, but she was like, she was like, yeah, everybody doesn't have the blissful experience of being single like you. And I'm sitting here like, well, you have the blissful experience of
You
being
said, well, I think some choices were
but
made.
yeah,
You
but
chose not to be.
yeah. And she wasn't saying it in like, I think it was, we weren't having that type of negative
Right.
conversation. It wasn't a negative like dig, like she was just like making me aware of it because it came up, it comes up in other situations outside of that, where there's people that see
Yeah, but
my
I don't think it should.
freedom and my singleness and this, and then I'm like, yeah, like
And
there's benefits to it, but there's also benefits to where you're at. And why are you looking at what, like, I want to be married, to be honest.
right.
Like
Right.
I want the healthy relationship and all that stuff, but in order for me to get there, I have to unpack all of this stuff. It's not that, oh, I'm just doing it. I'm just single by some for, well, I mean, it's a choice,
Yeah,
right?
but
But
you
it's not
didn't
that
say
I'm just
like I'm not
single
getting
because,
married.
like, I've never, yeah, like I don't want to, and I don't want to have, like, the kids and all that stuff. It was, I have to undo the first 20 years of my life.
Yeah, because what would be the
25.
fucking
And
point?
like I had to undo, and then I have to also undo the years of drug use. Right. And I'm
Mhm.
like, and so now I'm learning how to love myself because I didn't get taught that
Yeah.
at a young at the times that I was supposed to.
And no marriage will
I'm
work if you
not,
don't love
this isn't a
yourself.
blissful thing. This is what I'm doing to not only protect myself, but to protect other people.
And I really believe, well-meaning or not, when somebody says that, they have placed you on a pedestal to separate you from them so that they can give a lot of reasons why it's easier for you, you're smarter, more talented, your life is
Yeah.
easier, whatever, because they're afraid to do things for themselves. Like if in
Yeah.
this, to be an entrepreneur, to put yourself out there loudly. You know what I mean? Like there are people who I guarantee you there's plenty of people who are single that would say the exact same shit to a married. Well, it's different because you got the support of your husband and
I
you got
do. Yeah.
you know what I mean?
And I'm not above that. Like there's days where I'm like, bro, like when people are just like, do this and do that. And I'm like, I don't have the same,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like I can't, like I can take risks. Like don't get it wrong. I take risks. However, my risks have to be a little bit more calculated because
You don't have anyone to fall back
I don't
on.
have a fallback plan. I
Yes,
didn't grow up.
absolutely.
I don't have great credit because again, I didn't learn those things. So I have to be more calculated. I can't just, and on top of that, people don't factor in the fact, and even though I don't go around just saying because but at the end of the day, I am a dark-skinned Black woman with natural hair that wears a mohawk and have tattoos all over myself. So not
Mhm.
only am I just fighting the fact that I'm single and all this other stuff, that I have to sometimes work a little bit harder to gain the trust of the
Absolutely.
community.
Especially now I'm seeing, granted, I have a very small worldview of spirituality and the people in it, but I do see more acceptance in the spiritual community
Yeah.
than like outside. But yeah, I mean, anybody not acknowledging race as a factor is a fucking
Yeah.
idiot. So it
Yeah.
is like
It is.
absolutely.
And so that's
Yeah.
another barrier, not only in my professional life. Luckily, in my professional life, I do hair and yoga kind of, but even in the yoga space, I know that that's a factor.
Yeah.
Like my appearance is a factor in all
Mhm.
of that. And I know that also is a factor within my life. It's a factor in my dating. It's like I have all these other factors, and I
Mhm.
don't victimize myself. I try to keep pushing forward, but I need other
Mhm.
people to understand that I'm still dealing with other stuff. I don't care how loud I am. I don't care how confident I might appear. I don't care what you see me posting and all the things that I'm doing and how happy I am. On the other side of that, I'm still a human.
Absolutely. Well,
And I
and what they're doing too, what hurts us about them saying things like that is it's minimalizing and trivializing your experience. To
yeah.
say, well, you know, the bliss of being single, let's think. The bliss of having a fucking very limited support system. Hmm. I don't know
Yeah.
that bliss belongs in that sentence. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Right?
I have a very limited support system, but I am married and he is my number one fan. So that it like makes up for a lot. I don't have family to rely on. I don't have, you know what I mean? Like that I have no help. Like it's just me and him against the world. I have kids, whatever. But like I have a couple of really close friends, but and they're very supportive, but like that's not a lot. And there are days like yesterday, I was feeling all fucking sorry for myself because I've just wanted to go do something fun for a few weeks. And finally, a couple of my kids and my husband and I, we went to play pickleball yesterday. It just was a total fucking shit show because my daughter was in a mood. And then after an hour and so, I was like, fucking fine, let's go. And I was
Mhm.
so pissed because I just wanted to do something fun. I don't have friends I can call to go do fun stuff with. I mean, I
Yeah.
could, but like not as often as I want to go do something. And so I just tried not to feel sorry for myself because I was like, well, I really could just join a league or whatever. If I want to do things like this, I can, you know, join a team or something. But it's not easy to be single. It is not.
No.
And I'm making such a big deal about this because this is what we do as a society is we separate ourselves from others by putting each other in a box and pretending other people's experiences are either given the moment either easier or harder than ours. Sometimes we will minimize our own experience by being like, "Oh, well theirs was worse." Why are we fucking comparing? Let's just say
Yeah.
this shit's hard. Shit's hard.
It's
Life
not like we're
hard.
all like, and yeah, and we're all like, it's not easy. Like this
Right.
isn't
It's
easy.
not easy
And
for
like people
anyone.
feel like it should be, or like you don't have like, and I think sometimes they look at me and they're like, oh well, like you can do this by yourself. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm already telling been times where I'm telling people like I'm doing all this stuff and I need support in this, and they're like, well, like I think, they'll give me this laundry, like, I've worked with a coach and they were like, they give me this laundry list of stuff and they're like, well, yeah, like you can do it. And I'm like, but I'm already stressed about the fact that I really am already overwhelmed with what I have on my plate. Plus, on top of it, just dealing with my own healing and all this other stuff.
Yes.
And I don't think people think about that. Like I'm still in a lot of ways, like I still parent my mother sometimes when she calls me, right?
Yeah.
Like she calls me and I have to be it's funny, emotionally available for her. She doesn't have the capacity to be emotionally available for me.
Right. She's just, I mean, I hate to
And
say it like this, but that's just another drain on
and then
you.
yeah, but people don't understand that. And that I'm trying to work through that and and work through the forgiveness and work through coping with the fact and accepting that she is who she is.
Mhm.
I'm doing that on a weekly basis, unless I go weeks without talking to her, right?
Right.
And so it's like, but it's also because it was something deep down inside of me that said I had to heal that relationship, and I'm working on healing that relationship. But it's
Mhm.
not that I'm not doing extra work. So it's not that I just have this business and I'm just teaching yoga and I'm creating these classes and I'm creating content. On top of that, I'm still dealing with the emotional labor of my childhood
Mhm.
today at 35 years old. And
Mhm.
I'm still learning to let go of that, and I'm learning to let go of being okay with being seen, and loving myself radically, and having to show up on because once you start showing up online, you kinda have to keep doing it, which
Right. And it's the
in
fucking
some way, shape, or form,
worst.
right? And showing up for my clients, showing up for these people, these lovely people that show up for me now, right? And it's not easy. So
Yeah.
maybe it's not like this blissful experience, it's what I've had to sacrifice in order to exist.
Yeah.
And but and I'm okay, but also okay with having that sacrifice, right? Like,
Absolutely. It's just we just get upset when somebody else comes along and we share our experience with them and they say some bullshit like that.
yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to take. But that's why I'm just learning like people aren't trying to hurt me, like I'm
Yeah.
just trying to like feel that resistance that I feel whenever it first happens and understand like I just have had this whole paradigm shift. Like even over the weekend I was thinking about it more, and really like it isn't their job to create the safety. I mean, I know that I'm working really hard to create safety and communication so that people feel safe to share with me, because I'm not always safe either. Like my husband gets every fucking ounce of my
Yeah.
bitch ass attitude sometimes. I
Yeah.
mean, every fucking ounce of it. Like I will still freeze or fawn to other people and then go straight to him and be like, well, fuck you. I mean, and I know what I'm doing when I do that, but it is what it is. Sorry, honey.
Yeah.
But
you're being accountable for it, and you're acknowledging the fact that this
yeah.
is what you do.
I mean, I really do. It's the last, like, because I'm doing even so much better at patience with my daughter. Like that was one of the things I've been working the hardest on, connecting with her on a level to where it's not about patience. It's about like actually meeting her need,
Yeah.
But like, I just started thinking about it and I was like, well, it's not their responsibility to know that I am like dysregulated now that this conversation started. Because last night I was laying in bed and just picturing somebody saying, I wish I could remember what it was. I knew I should have written it down because it was real fucking mind blowing at whatever time of night it was. But I was like, holy shit, dude, just thinking about that. Like, I've never noticed this, but my heart rate is like fast. Like I was a little short of breath, like all of the things. And I was like, oh damn, I'm so glad I noticed this just thinking about that. Like this is absolutely happening when I'm talking to people and they're
Yeah.
saying, giving me any kind of feedback that's just uncomfortable. I will recognize it is me. It really
Yeah.
is. Now, sometimes maybe that's not a person I should have shared this thing with if I wasn't ready for this type of response because I knew who they were when I said it. But that's why I'm just trying to get to where like other people aren't constantly triggering me anyway. And for these actually for an entire year now, better part of 9 months, I have purposely isolated myself because I don't want to live in a world where I'm constantly triggered. And I've had to take a long time to get to a calm state to where I'm not constantly triggered. And so that's not like really a problem. But when I start getting into conversations and people say shit, I am triggered as fuck. So now I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be really like freeing for even some dumbass to say something rude to me and me be like, here's the tools, because I haven't had a lot of experience with that in 9 months because I have avoided it because I needed peace. Like I've never known it. Yeah.
Right? Like sometimes you just need that you're like to like let your nervous system be like here.
Because that was the
Like,
first time in my entire life that ever was.
Yeah, and give you that baseline. Like this is what I'm getting back to. Right? Like this is what this feels like. This is what this feels like. Where do we meet in the middle?
Yeah.
So like and that's definitely part of this summer or like the rest of this year, just like traveling and being by myself and noticing what comes up.
Yeah.
Noticing those feelings in the body, right? Those were things that I really just started noticing more this year because I also stopped like drinking, and it's not been an issue, but I was just like, okay, we're not gonna drink. I've been doing the plant medicine combo. So like I've just been like, okay, let's total detox, total nothing. But noticing the way that my body reacts when those moments happen, when I start thinking bad thoughts, my sciatica starts acting up because I don't feel my body is like, oh, we're not safe.
Uh-huh.
You're going back to that memory. We're not safe right now. We're like we're literally feeling this right now. I need you to get somewhere safe because I want to run.
Yep.
Like, where can I run if I'm in my head?
Oh God. Oh my God. All the time. Like
Where
when
can
I've
I?
noticed that, that like, oh wow, I used to would have done this right now, but I'm gonna make a different choice. I'm not quite sure what choice to make. Like where you're
Yeah,
like, I'll go through the little filing thing in my head of like, if you're this, then do this. Because like it's so new for me still to like
yeah,
experience something and not completely go off the rails.
yeah. And getting to that point too, like, yeah, like when I had something happen a couple months ago, and or actually, yeah, it's been a couple months, and coming out the other side, it was so hard, so hard. I was like, why do I feel this way? Why am I like
Mhm.
feeling so? And I was just like, why am I not able to get back up? Why am I not? And I was like, oh, because you're not using any of your negative coping skills,
Mhm.
right?
You were
I mean, I'm
white
still going to
knuckling
yoga.
it.
I was still like, but I wasn't using any of my usuals that I
Mhm.
used to pick up. And I was so grateful on the other side of it to be like, oh, well, you did better than what you would have done 9 years ago.
Mhm.
You know, right? It took me and realizing that not like it took me that long that I didn't react to it. Yes, I felt it. I cried, whatever. I was angry, blah, blah, but I felt it all. I went through the whole range, and I still have some lingering thoughts about it.
I'm
But
sure. I mean,
we're
yeah.
we're still like going, like you're still going through it, and the triggers, they're going to be there. And I think I've been saying it to myself. I just I think, like, yes, putting these programs together that I'm putting together and doing the things, and I hope for a future where the education system or schools or something like that are actually taking care of these things. These
Yeah,
things that actually matter. I
yeah.
spend so much time. I can do my timetables in my head. I can tell you about the Pythagorean theorem. I can tell you some history lessons. I can tell you about the civil rights movement. I But having to learn how to not only, for one, how to emotionally regulate,
Mhm.
and two, how to eat properly,
Oh,
right?
God.
And
Yes.
these two things that would guarantee success in this stressful environment that is the world. Because the stressors are going to be there. It's
Mhm.
not going to be picture perfect. It's not going to be easy, right? Like, it's never going to be. There's always going to be challenges. But what if it were set up for me to cope with with the challenges that come with it a little bit easier?
Yeah.
And what would it have been if my mom, even with my mom having me at the age that she had me, had the skills to regulate, to not be abusive, right? Or
Right.
neglectful or something like that, right? And it's not that the knowledge wasn't there. This knowledge has been here forever. This idea of loving yourself, it's nothing new. And teaching people that, there's it's or not even teaching. I'm at a place where I kind of like, I don't even know that I want to teach people. I just want to show people and
Right.
have these
Yeah.
questions. Like, here's some time. I can give you some of my time to tell you my story.
Mhm.
But just showing people how to love themselves,
Absolutely.
and that it's okay, and that it doesn't have to look a certain way. And it doesn't have to be this, whatever society is set up to say that this is how you love yourself is
Right.
not necessarily true. Like,
Mhm.
how do you
I
find
know, I
out?
hate all the like, oh, self-care, like being about manicures and pedicures and shit. Cause for me, actually, all those services ended up feeling like a job, like going to get my nails done regularly and all that. I was like, oh my God, I'm so tired. Like, I was so
Yeah,
tired of it. But like, self-care is about knowing if I feel like I hate everybody, I probably need to eat. If I feel like everybody hates me, I probably need a nap. If
yeah,
I am feeling angry, I probably need a little bit of a walk. Like I need to do things for myself dependent on what the need is. And I have to
Yeah.
know those things. And I have to understand it's always going to be messy. Not just allowing it to be messy, but understanding from the beginning it's going to be messy sometimes. That's just it.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be, and that's fine.
Yeah, it's gonna be messy. And sometimes it's also like self-care, sometimes it's knowing that's not my problem to deal with.
Or
Especially somebody
it's not my
being
job to
people
make you change your
feel
mind about me.
comfortable.
Oh, or
It's not my
comfortable.
job
Yes,
to make
that's
you
a
feel
number one
comfortable
for
about what
me.
I said.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my job. All I can do is be me. And I was talking about it with chat this morning. And we in the spiritual world, they like to talk about like there's nothing outside of you.
Mm-hmm.
And so like even getting on social media and I mean, even sometimes I feel like a hypocrite talking about this because I'm really working on not giving out unwarranted advice and things like that.
Right. But we do
Because
because that's who we are, and that's fine.
because my body is always telling me what I need. Like you said, right? Like I need to do this, I need to do that. I need to intuition is so strong that before that incident happened 2 months ago, a month before that, my mind had told me that that person wasn't safe.
Yep.
So we use these things like, oh, these people, and I'm kind of stepping away from that narrative too. Like people are just reflections, and like some people do mirror you. They come into your life to mirror you, but that's to get access to you, and they're not technically people that are meant to be around you.
Absolutely not. I
But
mean, hey, just because they can teach you something doesn't mean they should.
yeah,
Doesn't
and
mean you
it's
should
like,
allow.
but even with social media and all this other stuff, it's another thing to look at and like, oh, what else do I need to do to fix myself? What else do I need to do to fix myself? What
Right.
else do I need to do to fix myself? What other video? I don't need another video like telling me, handle it this way. And then I can scroll 2 videos later. I got another video telling me something else.
Yup.
And it's like, there's no tools outside of me that my body can't, like if I sat down and I, like you said, I drank some water and I ate the right food and I sat with myself and I felt the feelings outside of me that wouldn't tell me what I needed to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And we work so hard looking for something else. There's no amount of makeup or me straightening my hair or me getting like or me wearing any jewelry or me wearing like any of those things that I do moving forward are just for me having fun playing with my avatar.
Right.
But I had to undo that for a long time. And there's nothing outside of me that is going to make me feel at peace with being a human other than just being a human and allowing myself to be a human without bypassing, without not, like you said, you go to your husband and you know that that's a person. And maybe to a lot of people that's not right, but that's the container that you created for yourself. And
Yeah.
me creating spaces where I tell people all the time, people will be like, oh, go do, like when I snap and I go off and they're like, oh, you need to go do more yoga. And I literally just told somebody, I was like, yoga has created the openness for me to even speak my mind to you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Whether
No,
it
hey,
came out,
don't get it twisted. Just because I'm loving
yeah,
myself don't mean I'm not gonna fucking tell you you're not gonna talk to me like that.
yeah, you're not going to talk to me that way. You're not going to minimize my feelings. You're not going to minimize these things. And it's like, we just need to take more time, like less time trying to do. And this is where I'm at, which is why this summer is happening the way that it is.
I'm so excited for you.
And it's like, you just stop trying to do, stop trying to fix, and actually just be.
Just
Be
be.
the
Yeah.
love, be the love that you are, be the person that you are. You already know you're amazing. You've affirmed it, right? I have this whole network of people that have affirmed how much I love myself.
Yeah.
And I get to witness that through them. And I'm so grateful that I had that experience because it's like,
Yeah.
no, you can't. Like, you do love yourself. And there's nobody outside of me anymore that can tell me anything about myself. You can't tell me anything because I know for sure that I am here doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, when
If
you
you don't like
reach
what I'm
that
doing, you
place of
can go
full
over there.
alignment, exactly. And that's where I'm at is like, hey, I'm not meant for everyone, and I'm fine with that. Like,
Yeah.
quit trying to come in when you're not meant for me, because I'm tired of you trying to bend me to your will. I'm not moving anymore. I've done that my whole life. I'm not moving to come to anyone else. You're going to have to
Yeah.
meet me, or we just weren't meant to be. In fact, I have so much proof from this universe of the people meant for me that like every single recording, I'm like, oh, you really outdid yourself today. You know, like I feel so grateful because every one of these conversations is just the thing that lights me up the most, you know? And I put
Yeah.
it out there a while ago, like, send me anyone meant for me, you know, like, and I just meet the best people because I said that out loud. Send me the people meant for me. And that's what's happening. Why am I going to keep spending a whole lifetime searching for all the wrong people when I just needed to look within to begin with? So that's something I say all the time, is there's nothing external of me that can change my worth or value as a human. All that's
Yeah.
all right here. And I'm the only one who's ever going to recognize my full worth or value, because we as humans are inherently trained to see the shit in each other, you know, like to compare in the worst ways and cut people down so that we can feel better, you know, all the things.
Yeah.
And people do that actively. And like, even I've been surprised at, like, I'm really trying to make part of my brand supportive, like that I am out there actively sharing and liking and whatever everybody else's shit, and especially on the days I don't have shit to say, you know, like
Yeah.
I'm really honoring where I am in each moment in terms of marketing myself and whatever. If I don't feel like it, I'm not faking it. So I'll get on the social media and I'll just share and like, and you know, like I feel good about that. I really do. But I have been astonished at the lack of reciprocity. I
Yeah.
try really hard
Yeah.
not to let that bother me, and it doesn't stop me from continuing. But I have been like, damn, you can't even like a post. Okay, that's
Yeah.
okay. Noted. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes
And
sense, I guess.
that's it's tough because as you're saying it, I'm like, oh, you're doing more. I'm like, no.
Yeah, no, and I understand why. I honestly do. I honestly do. And that's what I always have to remind myself. Well, if they're not, it doesn't have shit to do with me. That's
Yeah.
all, you know what I mean? That's where they are in what they're doing. Like what they're doing might feel really overwhelming to them. So they might get on and do that and then hop off. You know,
Yeah.
like it may be a time factor, but it has been like, but like in checking in with myself about it, I like, because I've, you know, a couple of times out of resentment, I've been like, I'm not fucking sharing that, you know, whatever. I'm human. I have those moments, but I was just not that long ago checking in with myself about it again. And I'm like, no, you know what? I'm not doing this attached to an outcome. I'm not
Yeah.
doing
Just do
it
it.
so that people will reciprocate. Literally, I want to be this person and I'm going to continue to be this person. I'm going to continue to like and share other people's shit because it makes me feel good. So
Yeah.
that's that, you know, that's what I'm gonna do. But I also feel like I just felt this one day where I was like, man, we win better together. Like, not only do I fully understand there's room for all of us, but I feel like it's better when we're doing it together. And I'm doing my damnedest to get a community. I don't fucking have one right now. I feel like slowly, like it's building, but it's all virtual. Like, I don't have
Yeah.
anyone who lives near, you know, like I got my couple friends, but like I'm doing my best to just like bring people into my energy that just feel good. Like that, because it's hard to have these kind of conversations with people who don't get it because they just look at you
Yeah.
like you're crazy, you know?
Yeah. You're speaking a completely different language.
Totally. And I
They don't get
understand
it.
that. Yeah. I've gotten to where I'm like, well, honey, if you tried to have this conversation with a 4-year-old, that's about how it would have gone. So, you know, you got to understand the emotional age of the person you're communicating with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
There's so it's so and that's something I really recently like had to accept. Like, oh, you're
yeah.
not we don't speak the same language. We don't have the
Uh-huh.
same I think me and my friend were just been kind of saying like frequency. Like I can't
Yes.
and
Yeah,
it's
I
like
use that one a lot.
realizing like and it's kind of, it's been hard.
Mhm.
But honestly, like again, I'm just grateful that I do have people that I do. Like in some respects, we have, you know, a lot of commonalities, and we can talk about certain things, and learning how to talk to certain people about certain things, right? Like I
Yeah.
don't talk to everybody. We don't have these deep conversations with everybody, and being okay with that has really just like okay, like like
Mm-hmm.
you said, if you're
It's a
talking to a 4-year-old, you're
process.
talking to a 4-year-old.
Yeah,
You're
exactly. Like,
like
okay, let me get my
yeah,
parenting hat on real quick because apparently that's where we got to go with this conversation.
yeah. And having to shut it down, like, when it feels like it's just too much. Like, a couple weeks ago, I was, like, going back and forth with somebody. I said, "Listen, this conversation has become exhausting, so this is what we're gonna do, and this is how it's gonna happen," and, like, just taking control because the back and forth it's not helping me energetically, and you're clearly not getting it.
Right. And this is a drain to my system.
Yeah,
So sorry about that.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and we're gonna shut this down, and we're gonna you know, reassess this later.
We're gonna do something
But,
different.
yeah, this is just not gonna happen, this isn't working. And understanding that, just understanding too that that's just a misalignment.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that word so much. I'm
And
just
I use
learning.
that word now in a lot more frequently than toxic anymore because I think
Yes.
it
Yeah,
just
I like
became
that.
it became overused really fast.
Just like the word
And I don't
narcissist.
and toxic is
I know, baby.
and
I know.
and it became something, but it's just like, no. And my one of and toxic and one of my friends one of my friends last week, she was like, you know, I'm trying to understand the difference between good and bad people. And I was like, oh, it's like there are no good or bad people. There are people that are aligned and there are people that are misaligned. Because what's good for me is might not be good for you. And
Mm-hmm.
what's bad for somebody else might not be bad for me. Right?
Right.
And once I started understanding that, I was just like, oh, it's a misalignment.
Yeah, and you
And
feel
it
that
just
shit. You feel that a lot more than trying to intellectualize toxic versus not toxic. Like
bad versus
you know
good.
when it's not aligned.
Yeah, knowing like it's not bad or good or anything like that. And it kind of happened in and even understanding where I'm not aligned with somebody, right? Um and just I guess because it's still just it's very fresh, and I think it's just that like that this lesson that I was getting in this like misalignment, the person that was, you know, pretending to be my friend to, you know, get access, get information, feel my
Mm-hmm.
chemistry, like, you know, feel my person, like, you know, get my personality, all that other stuff. At the end of it, all this evidence showed how they were misaligned with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I happened to get on Facebook and I saw this old post that they had, and they like were talking about how they were looking for friends. And they were looking for like friends who do X, Y, and Z and their wives and their this and their that. And I was like, well, you know, a couple days before this woman told me that she felt like we were becoming best friends. But I'm
Mm.
not your target audience, right? Like that's not the type of friend that she was looking for. So it gave me like even I mean, like I said, I'm still sussing through it. And then like some of the collaborations that happened after that between her and somebody else, I had to step back and look at it and be like, okay, well, that's because like y'all were aligned and not me,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
Y'all were aligned.
Mm-hmm.
And it brought me so much more peace in that whole situation because I had to sit back and look and say, well, why didn't it work out? Right? Because at first you're angry. Why didn't this work out? And why did this happen? And why did it? And then I had to sit back and be like, well, it wasn't that she's a bad person. It's just that she wasn't
Right.
aligned with me.
Yeah.
And they were trying to manipulate me into believing that we were, but we really weren't. And
Right.
that was the angry making part. It was just that you were pretending to be and you weren't really, because now I see all this evidence of you weren't really looking for friendship, you were looking for energy access and all this other stuff.
Uh-huh.
And now it's like, oh, okay, cool. Right? Like I don't think that they're a bad person per se,
Mm-hmm.
other than some of their actions to get access, like, the lying and the manipulation and stuff. They're just a
Yeah, those are
manipulative
not
person.
good things.
Those weren't
Yeah.
good things, but I don't see them as a toxic person,
Right.
right? Like, I don't see them as a toxic person.
I could see that. Yeah.
I can see that they just weren't aligned with me. They weren't aligned with my values. And I had already started feeling that even before the situation happened. Because I
Mm-hmm.
don't, the way that, and you also kind of measure again around the people that they have around them.
Yes, and God, I wish we'd
I
start listening to ourselves sooner.
so much sooner, right?
So
Because I'm
good
sitting
at
there.
ignoring red flags. So good.
Yeah.
Like where I'm like, oh well, I'm sure I'm just crazy.
Yeah. And you're
I'll
sitting there like,
gaslight
or you
myself
try
all
to
day.
have this idea of, okay, well, everybody's situation isn't yours, and you try to be on like, but it's like I had to sit back and be like, well, the way that and understanding your values too, right? The way that they let the people around them talk to them, you
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't let the people around you talk to you like that.
Right.
So even if you can feel like, oh, I'm sorry that you have that existence, we're not aligned because our values don't match. Because I don't let people talk to me like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. And that's anymore, right? Like I don't let, and I'm gonna show you like this is how I approach people that may not show up for me or do not talk
Mm-hmm.
to me a certain way. And I don't go around pretending like it's okay that people talk to me
Right.
like that, right?
Right.
And or that my friends don't show up for me, or that like I don't have to beg, like it's certain things. But it was just also like, okay, how do we like frame this? Like it's okay,
Mm-hmm.
like this situation, even though there's been other stuff that got kind of unearthed in the whole situation, but it was just like this person's not aligned with you.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't bad, she wasn't good.
Well, and
Other
that's
people
so
aren't.
much part of the process of learning, like their shit's about them, my shit's about me.
Yeah,
What can I learn about myself in this?
yeah,
And I don't even need to give that other person another fucking thought because
yep,
I allowed this experience for a reason and I need to understand why. What did I do that? Why was I thinking this was good? What was my first hint that it wasn't that I
yeah.
ignored? Let me learn
And
about
I
myself.
ignored
But
it.
fuck you, brother. Like you can keep
Right.
going. Like that's
I
fine.
ignored my intuition. That was
Absolutely. We always
that
do.
was
Well, we were taught
that
to
was
do
the
that. It's a
lesson.
hard habit to break.
Yeah. Especially when you've been raised to not listen to your intuition.
Oh,
And that
well,
was
we were
the
all
hardest.
raised to not listen to our
Yeah.
intuition because we were raised to be compliant, especially as an eldest daughter. You don't fucking ask questions. You do what the fuck you're told.
Yep.
And when you teach, I'm going to harp on little girls for a second, but when you teach little girls that it's their job to make adults comfortable and to be responsible for adults, but specifically like just the whole, I talk about this way too much, so I don't want to get too much into it, but the extended relatives thing where you're expected to perform for them, hug them, let them tickle you, all of these things that don't fucking feel good for yourself and your body
Mhm.
and your spirit, but you're doing it because your fucking mom is making you. Like, well, right there, you're telling yourself, like, tickling, I hate so much, and I don't like it to be done. I don't like to watch other people do it. I feel like it's weird, whatever. I know that a lot of us do it, but I just started seeing this. I'm like, that's pretty abusive because when you're holding a child down against their will and tickling, there's just a whole process there that we as a nation are not looking at closely enough. But when I was tickled as a child by extended relatives, you learn how to shut off all the response in your body to that. You learn how to shut off the response to your body when you're being made to say hello or thank you to a stranger who decided to compliment you. You didn't
Mhm.
ask for the fucking compliment. Why I got to talk to the stranger? Like that's
Yeah.
something I have to work really hard with my daughter. And I had a full-blown conversation with her once I realized I was perpetuating that cycle. And I said, hey, I'm sorry I ever did that. And you get to decide who you talk to, who you don't. She will still to this day, and it's fucking uncomfortable as fuck. Some stranger, you are so beautiful. She will turn her head and look at me because she knows she doesn't have to say shit, but she's uncomfortable as hell. She's wanting me to intervene. And I'm just like, I'm not saying thank you either because I'm going to
Yeah.
model to her it's not our responsibility to make sure these people are comfortable. Were their intentions good? Absolutely. But it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. What matters is we feel safe. We are
Yeah.
allowed to go out into the world and not get catcalled or respond to compliment. I mean, compliments are so great. They are. But if I'm not comfortable or safe, I don't have to say shit. I get to do this however I want, like
Yeah.
autonomy. But that's the biggest piece of self love is knowing you can take up all the space you want and you don't have
All
to
of
say
it.
or do shit.
All of it. And you don't
Mhm.
have to apologize for taking up space. There's so many, I
Absolutely.
tell people all the time, like, even when I'm in the grocery store and people are like shuffling by and they're like, excuse me, sorry. Like, what are you apologizing for? We're
Mhm.
both here in the grocery store.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
we're
I
both
noticed
here.
myself doing that, like
And
apologizing for my existence.
existence. Why are you apologizing for existing?
Mhm.
Right?
Like,
Like,
excuse me is suffice. I now know you need in this space, but you don't have to apologize for needing to get
yeah,
something from
for needing to
from the
get
aisle.
something, or you're
Yeah.
walking by me, or we're both walking past each other, or we're both, and I'm like, why are you apologizing? Why are you
Mhm.
apologizing for taking up space?
Yep.
Take it up and like, and
Unapologetically.
stop and take it up unapologetically. And like, you know, I tell people all the time, like, you know, people look at the spaces that I go in sometimes, and I'm like, you know, my yoga studio, I mean, it's gotten more diverse over the years, but when I first got there, it was mostly white. And people say stuff
Yeah.
about it, and I'm like, I don't care. You know, like, I'm here. I exist and I want to practice this type of yoga. And so I'm going to go into this space and practice this type of yoga with these people.
Mhm.
I don't care, you know, sometimes like what I look like and what I'm doing. What, you know, when I started doing, I also teach nude yoga. And I remember people commenting like, "Oh, like you're a black woman. Why are you doing this?" And I'm like, "Why not?"
Yeah.
And it's like, take up
I can see where
space
that would
and do
yeah.
things. Like, just do things that who told me
Exactly.
that I couldn't? Who made up this rule that I couldn't
Right.
do this, or that you can't take up space, that you can't be in this exist in the same grocery store as somebody else, right? And we
Yeah.
keep perpetrating it, and we just shift what it looks like in every generation
You're
of
so
what, like,
right.
and it's like now it's on social media or like like, or anything, and it's just like, just why can't we just exist? Or why can't we also, on the other side of it, why can't we just allow people to not take up space? What if there's people out here that don't want to?
Yes, if you see an introvert, let that motherfucker be an introvert. Like
Like,
that's
let
that
them
I'm
be.
learning that for myself though. That's an act of self-love for me. Someone had to teach me this that when I go into spaces where I feel shy or uncomfortable, I don't have to masculine the fuck out and tell myself just go talk to someone. No, I'm
Mm,
allowed to sit there quietly observing as long as I feel that I need to before I feel comfortable to talk with somebody. Like I can do this with literally anyone in
yeah,
person. Not I can connect like this to anyone. But you put me in a space where I don't know people and whatever, if they approach me, I'll talk, but I'm not just going to get out of my seat and go butterfly around flauntering like, "Hi." I'd kind of like to be that person, but I'm also perfectly fine not being that person. I'm just not.
yeah,
I'm pretty shy. I really am. It takes a lot for me to feel safe. I mean, I can get up on a stage, but that's different. That's not like, I mean, literally social interactions about surface ass shit. I couldn't
I
think of
can't
something I hate worse. Like, can't do it. I'm not going to talk to you about the weather ever,
ever.
unless I live in Oklahoma where there's tornadoes and we're about to get some floods and shit. So like I'll talk about stuff like that. But like I have clients who are deeply hurt because their emotionally unavailable parents don't want to hear about the real shit in their life, but they will switch the subject to the weather. And I'm
Yeah,
like, it's such a good example because I'm not fucking doing that. I'm not talking about it. So I'm not going to go into some social interaction. Well, and as girls, we are programmed to socialize by talking shit or complaining or both.
yeah.
So I go into
And
these
I don't,
spaces
and
and
that's
it's
a language I
immediate.
also don't speak.
Yeah,
I'm getting
well,
like,
I was the
and
best
I'm,
at it. I'll tell you that much. I was a shit talker and I
oh,
was a
shit talking,
complainer.
yeah. Oh, shit talking I can do. But like complaining, like I can't. And even with shit talking, I'm really like, oh, like I like talking positively about people.
Right. Yeah. I want to understand that that's a human being. Even this has been a breakthrough for me. It's because I saw this medium on my show last week. But like I've really struggled in the last 10 years with who my grandma was, because I went back and forth between my grandma and my parents a lot. And then she kept us from age 8 on. They were around still, but she was our guardian.
Yeah.
And at some point in the last 10 years, I was like, oh, she really was a fucking narcissist. And I couldn't remember any good stuff about her anymore. I just was filled with a lot of unhappy feelings about her. And I allowed that. I was like, you know what? I'm allowed. I'm going to give myself this space. And it's been a very long time. I've been to mediums before and like was just like that. She's not coming through because she knows I don't want to talk to her ass, whatever. And as I've understood myself, I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I'm a lot like her, so that's cool. And understand why people do the things that they do. That's helped. Like I was able to hold two perspectives then. Sometimes in thinking about her, I was like, well, I can understand that. And then other times there was just pure fire anger. But last week I was like, oh, I like just looking at it very spiritually. And I feel okay to do that because I didn't bypass shit, because I've lived in anger with her for a long time and she's been gone since 2015. But I just was like, yeah, because the lady, I can't wait for this episode to air, but she was like, both my parents have died, and she was saying that she got the feeling that my mom just didn't pass the test. Like she had a mission in this lifetime that she didn't pass. And my grandma was supposed to be helping her and she was supposed to be helping me, and they kind of fucked up and whatever. So now they're helping me from the other side until like I'm where I'm supposed to be or whatever. Very short summary. But it was the first time that in a very long time that I could really humanize her experience and go, both she had shit spiritually and her humanness, and I'm going to lay down the sword. Like, I don't need to fight this battle anymore. I really am okay with who she was and whatever. And it was just like a unraveling that I felt again. And I've had the privilege of feeling that a couple of times where I felt like ancestral healing, just from something that I healed. And I'm like, oh, I can feel it. I can feel it go back generations. So it's like no one else is going to do this to their baby ever again,
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't even know where the fuck I was going with that, but I just becoming so much more accepting of other people. I think maybe we were talking about talking shit. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm committed, and I will tell you, I was the ringleader. I'm a Gemini, baby. Okay, so I did nothing but talk shit. Okay, so I was good at it too, and I was really I was mean sometimes. Like I wasn't a mean girl because I've always had a lot of empathy and compassion for people, but like if you pissed me off, it wasn't nice, I wasn't handling that shit well.
And I can say that like without a doubt, and people are always shocked when I say this. I'd be like, I was a mean girl.
Yeah.
I have done some, and I mean, but I mean, both sides of it, right? Like I want to see the best, but like if I didn't like you, I didn't like you.
Yeah,
and
I mean, and I could talk myself into not liking you pretty quickly. I really could.
And I was not, and it was also, but I was also aware. Like I tell people, I was raised by bullies. My mom has 4 sisters. 5.
Oh yeah.
The oldest one is the oldest one is a lesbian, and I was alive. And I said, my mom has 5 sisters when it really comes down to it, and they are all different types of women, and they are all different types of those shit talkers or manipulators or mean, some type of anything. I was raised by the best.
You learned, you learned how to get tough.
I learned, and so what people don't understand when they see me when they see me and they see me being nice and they see me being caring and generous and all this other stuff, and they want to manipulate me and trick me into being, and when so then once they do that and then they experience the other side of it and they say, well, I thought you were, and it was no. And I very much warned people at the beginning. I don't tell a lot of people a lot of my stuff just because I want to see how they treat me, which probably isn't the best thing too, but I do like to see how people treat me when they really don't know a lot about me, because that just is a test of their character. But I do lead with that. I do at least express that, like, this is how I was raised. And it's
Mhm.
not that I'm not capable of it, it's that I make an active choice because that shit didn't feel good.
Right,
It
I don't
doesn't
wanna
it's
do
still
that to other people.
to this day, they're still doing it to each other, right? My
If
mom just
mine weren't
talked.
all dead, they would still be doing it too. They did it up until they
Yeah,
died.
they're still doing it. 2 months, like back in January, February, my mom calls me all in a riot. Her and her sister arguing in the group chat, getting
Mhm.
kicked, all of this stuff. And I'm like, this first of all, this is why I don't come home for Christmas.
Right.
Two, it's I tell people like I'm making an active choice. This is a
Mhm.
choice because
And it's not the easy one. It's
it's
not an
not a it's
easy
not.
choice.
It's easy. It would be easier, I'm sure, for me to be me.
Yeah, where we
It
just walked around in that masculine energy, protecting our own self at all costs and talking shit about someone or to someone at all times. That
all
was
time.
easier. Sort of. Sort of. I didn't like the way I felt. I hated my
No,
life. So I guess it wasn't easier.
it
But in the
wasn't.
moment, it was the path of least resistance
Yes. But my life improved again. Once
significantly.
significantly once I stopped doing that, and I
Mm-hmm.
also started spending time with people that didn't do that.
Right. That was a big choice for me where I said, I'm not sitting in spaces where that's the only way we connect is talking shit or
Yeah,
complaining. I don't want
talking
to do
shit
it.
or telling the same stories over and over again and talking about somebody and doing all this.
Uh-huh.
I don't wanna be here.
No. Literally, it's so
And I
hard
don't
to
wanna
find
be
people who want to have good conversations.
I don't wanna be around the people talking about oh, this person, like, I had this situation, I've been talking about it and like, but let me tell you something, 3 years from now, I'm not gonna remember this woman's name. I'm not gonna remember what she looked like. I'm telling you, I don't sit around talking about people that much. I honestly love doing this. You know why? Because I get to sit here and talk about myself. I get to sit here and talk and hear about somebody else. And I
Same.
and that's what most people don't understand that love is. I get to talk amazingly about myself to other people. And this is
Yeah.
what I have going on, and this is what I did, and I get to celebrate myself in that way, in storytelling, that I went from dealing with that stuff to a life where I am like, genuinely happy.
A life you're in love with.
I love my life. I love the fact that I had no idea how I was gonna do this trip. I had no idea. But I said, "I'm gonna work." I do hair. I said, "I'm gonna do it once a week, 1 week out the month." And my books for June are already full. And I said, These are the things that I want to talk about, the life that I'm creating, because I said that I wanted more freedom and I wanted to do this, and I created it. That's what I want to
Mhm.
talk about. And that's what I'm going to be happy about. And that's what I want to feel safe around around the people that I'm talking about.
Yeah,
That's how
you
much
wanna be
I
able to
love
say that
myself.
without shit talk being had to
Yeah.
you.
And you
Yeah.
can't. And I
Yeah.
want, like, what if we did? And I tell
I've
people
started
this.
doing it anyway, truly.
Yeah.
I have
And then,
I've been like, "Oh, I was a keynote speaker." Like, and people will be like, "Did they pay for it?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, they did all the time. How much and everything?" Like, I'm so
yes.
fucking over it because for too long I've been like, "Well, I don't want to seem braggy or I don't-" fuck
No, fucking
it.
talk about
I'm
it.
gonna say what I have to say. Because like I had this moment a couple weeks ago where it was like, that phrase "full of herself," and I was like, damn right I am. I am full of
Right.
myself. I'm no longer full of the holes from childhood. I'm no longer full of the weight of expectations from myself or others. I am full of love and compassion for myself. And if you don't like what I have to say, you don't have to talk to me. You know?
Yeah. You don't have to follow me. You don't have to, like, be
Yeah.
around me. Like, let me be happy. Let me
Mm-hmm.
be happy in peace.
Yep.
And people don't want, like, there's so many people that just have ignored their intuition and wanted certain titles and wanted to appear a certain way so much
Yep.
that they don't know how to be happy for other people because they're not even happy for themselves and they're not truly loving themselves.
Period.
And I have been using this analogy for the past past couple months. And it's really just been resonating with me more and more, especially as we're having this conversation. We don't have pyramids anymore. right? The pyramids, Taj Mahal, all these beautiful, beautiful structures, right? But I always think of the pyramids because of what amount of teamwork it created, or it required. But also in that, at that time, people just knew all they knew was I'm a brickmaker.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm the laying the mortar. I'm this person. I'm the person directing. I'm the one with the blueprint. And the reason why the pyramids are such beautiful, beautiful structures is because nobody was sitting there looking around wondering why they got to do why I'm doing this job and that person is doing that job. Those
Right.
people each individually loved what they were doing and did their job without envying anybody else. And that's why we have these beautiful structures that we get to look at.
Yeah.
But because there's so many people looking around at what other people are doing, and unfortunately, that's also a symptom of social media,
Yep.
that nobody is living a fulfilling life because they're so busy trying to look apart that they don't even fit.
Mm-hmm.
And then they can't stand the person that is living the life that they're supposed to be living.
That's exactly right.
And then they come into your life and try to knock you off of that and think that you're supposed to be doing something else.
They will tear your tower down.
And they will in a quickness.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm grateful is that I learned to love myself. And even if there's some tower moments here and there, I know how to build back up because it's like, no, I know that I'm here for a reason and I'm supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
doing this. And as long as I keep loving myself and I'm moving towards what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm just worried about me and I am full of myself, I'm doing what I'm successful and I'm
Absolutely.
powerful. And I'm more powerful than those people that have to manipulate and do all the stuff and try and knock you off of your square and do all the that's not how it works. And you're still going to be unfulfilled with all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so grateful to be full. I love how you said that. I'm so grateful to be full of myself
Yeah.
because
And
most
it's so
people
real.
aren't.
No, they're not. They're still full of the holes, you know?
Yeah. And I'm filling myself up every day. And like as I'm letting go of whatever old trauma, old pains, whatever, I fill myself back up with myself and I spend time with myself and I love on myself and I reflect on how fucking dope it is to have this experience that is
Exactly.
Taylor. That
Yeah.
is Taylor fucking Breaks. Like I get to wake up every day and be me.
Yep. And
And
feel your own magic, which is the
yeah,
best fucking feeling.
and experience it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to
That's
be
so
able
real.
to be in my own space and be like, I want this. This is what I want. And not know where it's coming from, but able to create it.
Yeah.
That's so fucking powerful. And it's
Mhm.
like, I wanted a space like, and it's so beautiful. And it was funny again, like a week or two ago. Like I said, I have my own sweet space, and I teach yoga in there sometimes. And I'm in there, and I'm watching. They're in their pose, and I'm sitting there, laying there, and I'm laying there in the pose, and I'm looking around the room, and I said, "Bro, you created this. You wanted this. I wanted a space where I could teach
That's a
yoga
feeling that
and
is
do hair."
unmatched.
And literally after the class, another person in the building, she comes and she was like, "Hey," she was like, "How was class?" or whatever, blah blah. And I was like, "Oh, it was nice." And she was like, "I want you to meet this person. I want you to sit with somebody who's successful and like a influencer, yoga teacher, whatever." And she was like, "Because you don't know how powerful you are." And I was like, "Yes, I do." And it was in that split second, I I was like, "Yeah, you do. And I love you for it." Knowing the true power that people are chasing, whether it's money
Mhm.
and all these statuses and value, like, she was trying to tell me, like, this more successful person is go like, I need to go sit with this person. Not like you said, and we talked about this earlier, but, like, undermining what I had already did for myself from
It's
where
like,
I
oh, because
came.
it doesn't look the way theirs
Yeah.
does?
It doesn't look the same way as her, and I don't have maybe the same following and like, all
Mhm.
of this other stuff, and, like, "Baby, you don't understand that I know how to make it look good." I did that for the first 20 years of my life, making life look good.
Exactly. I'm not here to
And not
play.
even 20 years, 30 years. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I knew how to make it look good. I was doing that the whole time I was high. I was doing that
Mm-hmm.
the whole time I was being abused. There's not one picture that you see of me and there's pictures of me and my mom next to each other, smiling and carrying on, and I hated that woman.
Mm-hmm.
That outside of that frame, she was probably insulting me 10
Yep.
minutes before that picture.
And 5 minutes after. Yep.
Right. So there's no way that you're going to tell me how powerful I am when I came from something like that. And it may not look like what you think that it should look like.
Yeah, I'm not at that step yet because I'm
Yeah,
going through my steps, but
right.
like I am powerful and I'm aware
And
of
I'm
it.
very
Shit.
and I'm very successful
Mm-hmm.
where I am right now.
Exactly.
And I don't need you to affirm that. And I don't really like need that other person. Like, not saying that I don't,
No.
but like I don't need the other person to affirm
Yeah, I mean,
that
if
for
that had
me.
been framed to you differently, cool. We networking
Yeah.
and whatever, but like not because you need help. I mean,
Yeah. Like, you need and then on top of that, to me, I think you're successful. So why are you undermining yourself too?
right, exactly.
Right? Because also you know how powerful I am, and maybe you want to push me off to somebody else that maybe could contain my power.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know that, and I know why I'm so powerful, and it's not just because I have all like these followers and all this other stuff and this polished look. My power is that I love myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I also created a environment where other people love me and celebrate
Mm-hmm.
me. And I created a space, my own space, my business space, right? Because I created that to help me love to be more independent and love myself and have this space, because that was also a dream that I had.
Yeah.
So, and my clients that are faithful to me, right? I said I'm taking the summer off. They said, What do you mean? Well, when can we? You know what I mean? Just make sure we're straight." And they come in there. Sometimes I have clients that I counsel. I have clients that come in there and counsel me,
Mm-hmm.
and that's my superpower. My power is love. And that's what people don't understand, that's way more powerful than anything. Radically
Anything.
radically loving myself is so powerful. And that's where I started, before I get to but that's where I started becoming more accepting of my mom, even though there should have been there are some things. My mom, she still has her ways, but like my mom was at some point trying to survive, but also trying to love herself so much that in a lot of ways she was willing to sacrifice maybe the relationship that she had with me and my brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she used to but I watched her pour into herself, work out, study, go to school, pour into herself. And yes, sitting back as a child, you want that, right? You want mom to love you, but she has created a life for my mom again, too. She traveled she found herself a husband that takes her across the globe, right? She has a job that she makes, she does well for herself, and she lives in comfort, and she has some semblance of peace, and she's able to show up now a little bit more for us. Not
Mm-hmm.
in the back, not fully, but she still shows.
Yeah.
And for my
Yeah.
niece, for my niece and stuff. And I was like, okay. And I think that was part of the forgiveness. It was like, well, maybe it wasn't that she didn't love me. She had to give all her love to herself.
Yeah. It
Because
was never
people
about
before
you.
her, yeah, it
Yeah.
was never about me, because the people before her, the people that raised her, didn't love her. So she had to pour all
Right.
of that into herself. And so now that's where I am, where I'm like, okay, stop making the show about everybody else. Let's pour so much into ourselves, love on ourselves so much that we can keep manifesting our dreams. Because you've
Absolutely.
already tested it. I've been doing it in little, here, these pockets.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I get the things that I want.
Right.
And people don't understand, and they're just you know, how does your magic, like, you know, people are like, how do you do this? Like, you know, and they're like, it's so easy for you. And I was like, it's not.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
not
not any different
easy.
than you. I
It's
just
not
believe in
easy
myself.
loving yourself in a world
Yeah.
that constantly is telling you not to.
Well, we have a whole industry designed to make women hate themselves so they will buy products.
Yeah.
That's
Right?
the beauty industry.
So that you'll go get surgeries and so that
Mhm.
you'll, you know, you'll work yourself to death and you'll, you know, you'll never get to just be.
Right.
And that's what I was like, no, I want to be and I want to feel all my feelings and I want to love all the feelings that I'm feeling.
Mhm.
And I want to love the highs, I want to love the lows, I want to love the in between, and love every single part of me. And love, excuse me, learn to love every experience. You know, eventually, you know, once I'm done with the anger of this whole, like, of
Right.
certain situations, right? I'm gonna eat, and for certain people it's easier, right? For certain people it's just like, oh yeah, like we're not friends anymore, but I still, like, you know, I still love them, right?
Mhm.
You know, like exes and all those. I'm like, oh, I still love them.
Yeah, I send them
That
away in
hasn't
peace.
gone
Yeah.
anywhere. That hasn't gone anywhere. I just can't have them in my environment,
Right.
right? Because it's not conducive. It doesn't change. And once I started loving those things, I was like, well, you know, I love, like, people are like, you know, they'll look at their past sometimes and they'll be like, well, even when I talk about like doing drugs and stuff like that, I'll be like, I loved every drug that I did.
Right.
I I love, like, and still to this day, I was like, I love drugs. It wasn't,
Yeah.
but eventually it became something that
Wasn't doing anything
wasn't
good for you.
wasn't
Yeah.
doing anything for me. But it helped me in those times
You
maybe
survived.
love myself, right?
Yes.
Those in those times, that's what helped me hold it together and love myself through those those darker times when I was burying myself.
Mhm.
I
Absolutely.
don't I don't not love any person, like any parts of myself. I don't
Mhm.
run around in the streets talking about it all the time.
No, but I think you, like me, understand. Like every time I'm on someone's show and they're like, What is your parting words or whatever?" I'm like, man, I guess just when you understand that you cannot have the type of light you're looking for without an equal amount of darkness prior to, you can't know that light without that dark.
Yeah.
And also, when you realize that all the things you fucking hate about yourself and deem as negative are your superpower, you can alchemize all that stuff just from loving it with the things that you already loved about yourself. And there's your magic. That's it.
Yeah.
When you realize that it all matters and it's all intentional and it's all a part of who you were designed to be, and like me being mean before now is just my spicy side. You know, like if somebody requires that of me, I'm going to give it freely. That's what
Yeah.
I'm going to do because I've learned how to cultivate that. I'm allowed to advocate for myself and others in whatever manner I see fit. But if
Yeah.
I hadn't been a person who would just fly off the handle and be like, what the fuck, you know, and go the fuck off, I
Yeah.
wouldn't have known how to. It's a lot easier to learn how to like dim, you know, simmer your fire a little bit than to
Yeah.
develop one, you know, like because I do the opposite too. I was a freeze fawn person too, unless you absolutely just triggered me so fucking wildly that like that was that. And usually you'd have to be pretty close to me to like get that level of trigger. Out in public, I didn't know how to use my fire, so it was just like, oh, you know, abuse me, that's fine. Now I can take all of that, the people pleasing part of me and the real spicy side of me, and alchemize that, and I'm like, I am a beautiful advocate for the
Yes.
things that I am passionate about.
Yes.
I used to hate that thing about me and I fucking love it.
I love it. I love it. I love how I react sometimes. I love that sometimes I'm I can be swayed one way or another. That's what I'm respond like, we're not there's outside, there are stimuli outside
Yeah,
and I respond to it.
yeah,
That's what I'm here to do.
exactly. We
And
respond to
like
shit.
I'm okay. Like it's okay. Like people would be like, they'll say like, stop being easily manipulated. And it's like, am I easily manipulated or am I responding to my my environment? And it's
Right.
like, and I'm still am who I am.
Because that's the thing is I think about this a lot on the being able to be manipulated is I think I'm getting to the point where I'm more willing to just trust what I see at face value. Yes, listen to my intuition, but stop with the hypervigilance of trying to figure out from the second I meet someone if they're safe,
Trying to,
worthy, you know what I mean? Trying to determine if they're bad or good immediately and just be like, what's the worst that's going to happen? I'm never going to let it get too far. So let me just let
Yeah.
this fucking unfold naturally. I don't have to make snapshot decisions about people anymore. That was a fucking trauma response and I've outgrown it. I can't do that, you know?
Yeah. We
And I'm
can't.
willing to be wrong. I'm okay. That's a part of being messy. I'm willing to go, fuck, I really thought they was good. Okay. Well, shit.
Okay, well
You
they're
know?
not. Yeah,
Yeah.
they weren't.
Moving
They
right
weren't good for me.
along. Yes.
Yeah. Like it's
Mhm.
okay.
Exactly. Yeah, because you know
And
what? Because I
feel
truly
how I
do
feel
not
about
take it
and keep it.
personally. You know, I
Yeah.
do not.
No.
It does not have shit to do with me. The way people act is about them. And after I realized that about myself, I could see it so clearly in others. I know exactly why people do what the fuck they do. Every fucking time I'm like,
Yeah.
you better go deal with your
Once you
shame. You better go deal with it because you just tried to
Yeah.
put that shit off on me and it wasn't about me, babe.
Nothing.
And
Nothing
judgment.
has nothing to do with me.
I know how much you hate yourself based off how much you judge others. When I hear it, I'm like, I had to tell my middle son that he was expressing a lot of discourse about our family one day, like, and then this and blah, blah, like, you know, reason he wants to move out. And I was like, hey, nobody's laughing. But like I said, well, I hear you. And so much of what you said, that's valid. I get it. But this is why I'm talking to you about how you feel about yourself, because what I know is you would not sit in this level of judgment of all of us and all the other people around you if you were not giving that same equal amount of judgment to yourself. When I learned to stop judging myself, it made me stop judging others because I am them and they are me.
Yeah. And that's their stuff to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Let them live their life. I'll be like, people be talking to me about, like, they just start talking
I
to me
just don't
about
understand
stuff.
why they da. Who fucking cares, bruh?
But that's what we're conditioned to do. Like, it's like, it's the
Absolutely.
same with the news and all the other stuff. And I'll be like, I'm not,
Don't get me started on the
I'm
news.
not
Yes.
concerned with that.
No, I'm
Like,
not
I
watching
live
it.
in my world. I'll be like, bro, like, I don't know. I don't know any of those things.
Yeah, I don't
I
need
don't know what's
to.
going. Sometimes, like, you know, like, even like, because, and it's like that was part of the deprogramming, like stopping with the celebrity gossip, stopping with all of the all of
Yes.
those like all of that stuff. Like,
I don't even
those
watch true
people,
crime anymore.
yeah, like
Yeah.
being concerned with things that are not in my world.
And getting all amped up about it and
Yeah,
stuff.
and
Yes,
getting
that was part
so,
of my
and I'm
stuff
just like,
too.
why are you getting so? I remember when Roe versus Wade, I that was not a fun day for the people around me because I'm so like, you know, realistic about stuff. But like one of my friends, she was just like going off about it, and she's full blown lesbian, and I was like, well, do you plan on dating a man anytime soon? Like, do you plan on getting? And she was like, no. And I was like, well, do you plan on getting pregnant anytime soon? And she was like, no. And I said, so why are you so up in arms? And it's not
Yeah.
saying that it's not concerning about other women and all this, but like, if if it does not immediately impact my life or my future, why am I getting so upset about this? Right?
Well,
And so that
and
goes
like
with the
that would be
judgment.
future
Right?
catastrophic. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're just doing like future forecasting at
But
that
it's like
point.
that's the judgment of it, right? And it's like constantly judging the news and other people's experiences, the celebrities. I mean, they're up here trying to discern whether or not Beyonce's child is autistic right now. And
Baby,
I'm
I
like,
know it. I
who
seen it on
cares?
TikTok and I was
It's
like, why? Let's
like
be
who
real. Something's very obviously going on there, and I don't know why we care. And for Beyonce, I'm gonna say that like I like her. I don't know how I feel about her, but as far as I know, and I only know this from TikTok, she wasn't bringing this child out the way she is now until Kanye said something about her and their kid, and now she's trying to prove a point. But it's like, why are
we
God, I would hate to live that life that I'm going
Yeah.
to do these things because Kanye West said something about me on Twitter. Let Kanye say something about me. I don't give a fuck what Kanye says. You know what I mean?
But yeah, and it's just like why do we like, that has nothing to, I just want to listen to her music. I'm a big, I
Right.
am a huge, and I always tell people, like, I love her music, I love, like, some of her I love, like, but, like, I don't care about her personal life.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I
And I don't
don't
want you to care
know.
about my person, like, when I'm at a place where I'm
Yeah,
like,
why does
I
it
don't care so much
matter?
about other people's lives.
Well, you know why? Because that for some reason, like I think for girls like us who were, conditioned in the way we were, it's like we want to build these connections with people who can't reciprocate, because that's the only way we feel connected to people. And I have a real spiritual connection to music. So if I really I used to like go into
Yeah,
deep dives about the artist and shit. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I'm sorry, my phone is, like, needing to be
No, you're
plugged.
totally fine. Okay, well, I have kept you way
Yeah,
too long. Let's
yeah.
wrap this up. I really appreciate you being on today, and this was such a wonderful conversation for me. I'm so excited that we got it
Yeah.
figured out because I was like, "Who the hell am I talking
It does.
to?"
I was like, wait, I don't even remember because I was on, like, I've been on Threads, just like, it's funny that you said, like, you do speaking engagements and stuff, and I was like, well, eventually, like, I think, like, that's the path that I want to get down. And I was like, well, we need to practice talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, and this helps me so much because I say the same things over and over. It feels like in different ways or whatever, but
yeah,
it's gotten me very concrete in the way I think. Like
yeah,
like to where I could literally be talking to a stranger and would probably say, like, I could give like a 10-minute speech really quick and easy,
yeah,
because like, first of all, I'm a talker, so it's
yeah.
not that hard to talk. But yeah, no, I mean, and there's a space, man. Like I'm still trying to figure out how
Yeah.
the hell to get more of those gigs, but when I do, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I wanna speak more, and so I was like, "Oh, let's do," like, I've just been on, like, Threads, like, "Oh, I'll do it," and then, like, I have, like, one once a month, and then I was like, "Oh, I don't know which one this is." So, but I'm glad we
I
figured
never
it out.
know. Never know who the hell I'm about to talk to. So I'm glad we got it figured out. And if you come anywhere to Oklahoma, near Oklahoma on your road trip, hit me up.
I will. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Well, I'd love to stay connected in any way. And
Yeah,
it's today Monday. Have a magical Monday.
have a magical Monday, and, send me a message so I know, wait, like, what your
When it
date is
airs and
again. Yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, I will make sure I let
Alright,
you know.
alright.
Sometimes I don't do that until the day before, but
Okay,
I will
cool.
let you know and give you links.
Alright, thank
Okay,
you.
awesome. Bye bye.
Awesome, bye.
Hey, make sure you've given the show a 5-star rating on whatever platform you're listening to if you haven't already. And check out my website, empoweredwithmelissahepner.org, or my link tree on Instagram at melissa.hepner to check out my latest offers or workshops.
Emotionally unavailable. Emotionally unavailable.
INDEPE and cut.